Are you feeling depleted? Most of us feel that way at least some of the time, and many of us feel depleted most of the time. Today, we're going to talk about the true cause. Stay tuned. This could really make you feel better every day. We are married intuitives with over 20 years' experience who created the ecosystem approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Jason, we've been talking about being depleted for a long time. And, during the pandemic, it became really clear to both of us how we misunderstood energy and how it works. Well, how does one become depleted?
Okay, so just to be clear, it's not we misunderstood energy, it's we collectively as a culture misunderstood energy.
Exactly. I apologize
And
for that. Yes.
and when um, what we saw was is that we were doing just fine.
Yeah. Well,
We
yeah,
were
we,
doing
we
just fine
were. Yes, I admit.
because our life force energy wasn't depleted, but people were responding to the isolation by saying that this is really hard, this is hard on us,
Yeah. I'm
depression, hopelessness,
loneliness, all of those things. Yes.
all of those things.
And by the way, that's not something that Jason and I had. We didn't deal with that, meaning personally, during the pandemic because of isolation.
Exactly. Because we have each other, we
Yes.
have a little family system here. But so here's what we're trying to convey. Um, it's what happens when your sources of life force are disconnected. Human
From you.
from you,
Okay.
we need life force. That's what creates literally life. When we don't have any life force, we're dead.
Exactly.
And typically, when we're happy,
Yes.
when we're doing the Snoopy dance in the world, and
Patting of the feet.
the
Okay.
and we're just happy. It's springtime. Everything's great in the world.
Right.
That's because we're filled with life force.
Right. Right.
Now, human beings are living things and they can adapt. And
Yes.
what's happened is that our normal source of life force has been disconnected, and that's
Yes.
what we're going to talk about in the show today. And
Right.
it's kind of exciting to me
It
because
is.
it shouldn't be that way. And in fact, we have a source of life force which is natural in the way we're designed that we're not using,
Well,
and
and
that's been trained out of
I was
us.
going to say because we've been programmed. Yes.
So
Yes.
let's talk about that.
Okay.
Humans get life force through their essence. Some people call that soul. We use the term essence. And that essence is connected to the creator and the non physical dimension.
Mm-hmm.
And it has an unlimited supply of life force energy.
Exactly.
So what's the problem, right? You say, what's the problem?
Yeah. Oh, wait.
Well,
What's the problem, Jason?
there's a couple problems. First, and if you go to our website, theecosystemapproach.org, we wrote a couple articles about the discovery, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a big deal
It's
because
really important to understand.
here we are, we're intuitives, but we're in 2021, um, um, and we're looking around and we're saying, okay, the discovery basically said that most people have 80% of their essence is encumbered, is filled with negative energy that blocks the transmission of life force energy.
And if you understand that, just that piece alone, then believe it or not, you've gotten that's, excuse the expression, you have received an understanding of how not only you work, but how everyone else in the world works.
In the beginning, when we made this discovery, I was saying to people, oh, you've got 8% of your of your essence is blocked.
Right.
and people, it's like, well, so what? I mean,
No big
huh?
deal
What's
because I've been living with it all this time. What's the big deal?
They don't understand how their essence works.
That's right.
So that's the first part. The
Okay.
second part is because we're programmed. And when I say programmed, we say just do it. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. You
Right.
don't check in with your essence. What you do is you just
Just get it done.
right, just get it done. If you go through the grocery aisle, you'll see all these magazines that say three easy, having losing weight in 10 easy steps, or 10 days to have a better relationship with your spouse, or
Right.
all these
Exactly.
quick fixes,
And by the way,
formulas.
those articles and those and I admire anyone who can write that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is it never ever ever talks about that block that all of us come in with of at least 80% of our essence.
Well, and the point of the articles is that they're all programming.
Yes.
All those articles are programming, and what
Yes.
that does, it cuts us off from our essence.
Exactly.
The way we're supposed to work, and this is the way it is.
Hmm.
We're supposed to work so that when we have to make a decision, whether it's coming from the outside, like, Patricia tells me to pick up my underwear from the bedroom floor, that's, she's directing me to, and then I check in and see how I feel about that, and then I clear it so I can survive, that sort of thing. But the other thing is that
He'll
sometimes
pay for all of this later, everyone. Don't worry.
sometimes we have this internal, like, oh, I got to eat, I'm hungry, I got to
Yeah.
eat,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Or I can't handle the world outside. I need to just calm down and go away or relax or meditate, by the way, which is great. But the bottom line is that unless you're using the ecosystem approach, you're missing, you're
well,
not getting rid of the
and here's the point that we're not
80%.
making clear,
I see.
is that if you try and do anything and you don't check in with how you feel about it, or go to your essence, which we don't, we we were designed to normally do that. We don't even have to think about going to our essence. But because of programming, which says, we're taught to look outside of ourselves for
Exactly.
solutions, instead of
Mhm.
going inside and saying, okay, if I'm
Mhm.
hungry, what's the best way? How do I get fed? How do I feed
Right.
myself?
Right.
Should I buy that Danish today, or that latte? Which should I get today? You should check in with your essence. But
Yes.
we don't do that anymore. We just say, well, we use these rules and protocols and
And the
recipes.
programming and the things that we do, the habits that we do every day.
And so we're disconnected.
Yes.
We're not getting that unlimited source of life force.
Right.
The 80% blocks a lot of that life force.
Mhm.
So what does that leave us with? Okay.
Right.
So, here's an example. I had a client who told me just the other day that she was over at a neighbor's house. She was swimming at her pool, and her neighbor said, "You're always happy." you know and this is just right after the end of the pandemic, and it's different places, it's still present. Says, "You're always happy. What?" She was basically asking, what's your secret?
Yes.
What's your formula for that?
Oh, yeah.
And of course, it's
How
not a
many
formula.
steps do you take to be
Yes.
happy? Yes.
But we've been working together for a long time, and what we've been doing is clearing the negative energy in her essence,
Yes.
and so that she can just on demand just call in that life force energy,
Yes.
and it's there. Now at the end today, we're going to teach you how to activate life force, but it's roughly analogous to putting an IV when you need fluids. You can't walk around the world with an IV in your arm all the
No,
time, or downloading life force all the time. It
exactly.
should come naturally.
Exactly.
But we're going to teach you how to get there.
Yes.
So stay tuned.
Well, and you know what, Jason, you have another example of how to understand what you're talking about here.
The exchange of energy. So when we go out in the world, we connect with people, and there's an exchange of energy.
Correct.
Hi, how are you doing? Maybe you stay with your neighbor for a few minutes, and shoot the breeze. What we see as intuitives is that, um, um, actually, it's very personal to us. People, you can give someone really high quality energy, but the energy you get back isn't as high quality. So
Well,
it's
and
roughly analogous.
wait, hang on and understand something. When you connect with someone, there is an automatic exchange of energy. We need to say that.
People kind of know that. If you're listening today,
Sort of.
you probably know this, that there's an energy exchange. But what people don't realize is that it's the quality of that exchange. So if
Exactly.
I'm giving you $100 and you're giving me $1 back, that ain't such a good exchange.
No.
Another way to express that metaphor is if we both have gardens
Yes.
and we exchange vegetables.
Okay.
If my garden is lush and rich and has a lot of diversity, and I'm giving you these great vegetables,
Okay.
but your garden is kind of dried up and shriveled, and
No, notice who has the better garden here.
like carrots that don't have any taste to them, or tomatoes that taste like cardboard.
Yes.
That's kind of a similar exchange. The way we're designed is that we all have lush gardens.
True.
And that you have some vegetables that I don't have, and I have some vegetables that you don't have, and we
so,
exchange.
Exactly.
And it's sort of on an equal footing, and that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way we're designed.
Correct.
I'm not talking about a moral supposed to. I'm saying when we look, we use our intuition, look and say, hey, what's there's a blueprint about how we're supposed to be.
Correct.
And it's right there.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Jason, what are the key points of this segment?
Human beings are designed to always have an unlimited source of life force available.
Mm-hmm.
The discovery of the 80% negative energy that affects us is one reason why we aren't getting life force. The depletion of life force comes from trying to get low quality energy from other people rather than have it come naturally through ourselves and through our essence. And the ecosystem approach teaches you how to have an unlimited source of life force like you were designed to have.
I love it. In the next segment, we're going to talk about common beliefs that create depletion of life force. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about common beliefs that create depletion of life force. We are married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the Ecosystem Approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. What do you mean, Jason? Common beliefs that create depletion of life force.
Since we don't know how to get life force from essence, we try and get it from each other.
Yes.
That's the most common belief, that if we're isolated, and
Yes.
this was in the forefront during the pandemic.
Truly.
When we're isolated, we get depleted. We need to have social interaction. We miss our friends. We miss talking to the guy at the corner. We miss getting the coffee and saying hi to the barista, all those things. But here's the truth of it.
Okay.
We believe that because that's how we're getting our life force, and it's really, really low quality. You should be getting it from yourself, through your essence.
Right.
That's high quality, rich life force energy, and that sustains you. So when you don't have that source of life force, the depression, the addiction, the loneliness,
right.
How
about the neediness?
The neediness.
That was one of the things I saw the most from not only my clients, but also my friends and family.
Well, and that was a response to the fact that they weren't getting
exactly
being depleted.
Exactly.
That's different than so when you're depleted, it creates all the problems in the world. You can trace back to being depleted with life force.
Yes.
That's a big statement.
Well, and so let's most people don't know and they don't have functional knowledge of their own essence.
Right.
Go ahead.
So since they don't have that, let's talk about how the culture wars are one of the ways that people are trying to get that energy that they're depleted from, that life force energy.
Okay.
So whether you're a Democrat or Republican, if you get together and say, oh, all those awful Republicans, all those awful Democrats, and you're doing it with like-minded people, it stirs up the energy,
Oh,
that
that it
anger and
whips that
resentment.
up.
What's
Yeah,
wrong
yeah,
with
yeah,
those
yeah, yeah.
people? They're doing this to me,
Right.
and it's a form of energy. People say it's camaraderie. I wouldn't call that. It's a form of energy that, since you don't have it from your natural source, you get a little bit of that from that source. Of course, that's not high quality energy either.
Exactly.
So if you're in
Exactly.
your bubble and you hear it, where it's, no matter where it is,
Right.
and they said, oh my gosh, you're being these people are hurting you, they're doing these things to you, and you're getting angry and bitter about it. That builds up that energy, but it's not good energy. It's not good quality energy. And because we don't understand energy,
Right.
because we're programmed like machines, we think of ourselves like a machine
Right.
that we get up and turn the
Switch
ignition.
on. Yeah.
Yep. and
Yeah,
and
exactly. Well,
sometimes
no,
it's a cup of
I was
coffee.
gonna say, I was gonna say exactly that. But what else? You said something, and I want to make this point. If you need, and we all do, if you need life force energy, why wouldn't you want the best?
Yeah,
Why wouldn't you want the quality and the best energy that is available to you? And by the way, it's available to you from your essence, not out there, not out in the
exactly.
world.
Exactly. And what we don't know is that, yes, we want high quality, but it's more complicated than good and bad. We
Right.
need the energy that we need in the moment, for the moment.
Yes.
So
That's well said.
it's people think of it as good and bad because we don't even think about energy. We
No,
think of it in very simplistic terms when we do
correct.
think about it. It's not just a matter of good and bad. It's about the quality and getting the right stuff in the right time. But your essence already knows how to give you the exact right amount and type of high quality life force energy
That you
that
need.
you need.
Yes.
And all you have to do is go there to get it, as opposed to,
Right.
we're taught to go to these experts instead. So here's the other thing. We've heard a lot of talk about energy vampires,
Yes.
and
Sure.
we've seen the articles, and people say, okay, well, what do you do when you have an energy vampire in your life? Well, here's the truth of it.
Ask them to get their teeth fixed. What? I don't know.
you know, Everybody is an energy vampire at some time or another.
That's correct.
We've all taken energy from other people,
Sure.
because that's the way we're trained.
Yes.
We don't know any better,
Mhm.
and some are worse than others. But typically, the person that's an energy vampire in your life, if you're listening right now, is someone that you really can't just exclude from your life. And
Right.
I'm not sure that's the best way, anyways. But excluding people from your life because they're an energy vampire isn't sustainable.
Right.
We had a client who decided to get all the people who weren't positive for her. She was working with me at the time. She was going to exclude all the people from her life. Well, the problem is that the biggest problem that she had with these people came from her.
And
So
she didn't want to accept that.
and then so she included all these people. It didn't really help. It didn't
No.
really make a difference.
Exactly. Well, wait a minute, Jason. Let's talk about how just give some examples of
So
how people take energy.
yes, take energy from each other. Okay, well, if I ask you to pay attention to me, I'm taking your energy.
Right.
If you're giving attention, you're giving your energy.
Mm.
Bullying is a form of taking energy.
Oh yeah.
Being confrontational, getting in someone's face, is a form of taking energy.
Well, and what you leave behind when you do that, and this is just an example, you leave behind this energy or essence of fear.
Well, and typically the bully takes the fear and uses it as life force. It's not a very good way of, people that are bullies, they bully people because they get energy
Right.
from it, but not in a good way.
Exactly. And it really gets divided, but go ahead.
Joking
Can be.
can be a way of taking energy.
Yeah.
Joking at someone's expense can be a way of getting energy from the group.
Oh yeah, sure. Hmm.
Group attention is always a form of getting energy.
Right.
Rock concerts and
Right.
sporting events
Hmm.
creates a lot of energy, but it's not high quality.
No. No.
Helping someone. Here's the here's the here's it, People don't understand this. helping someone can be a form of taking energy.
Well, in other words, if somebody comes up to you and says, "Can I help you?" That kind of thing. Is that
Yeah.
what you mean?
Yes. And you don't, sometimes it's not taking their energy, but sometimes it is.
Yes.
And it's just a matter of knowing what's taking, what isn't.
Right.
We take care of my mom, who's 91 years old. She has dementia. She can't hear. And she's always trying to be helpful. But when she offers, first of all, she has no idea that she can't really help. It's like a 3-year-old that says, I'm going to cook dinner for the family today. And
Right.
you know that once they go in the kitchen, it's going to be a mess, and there's,
A disaster. Yes.
disaster. And you're not going to get dinner anyways. So
Exactly.
it's the same sort of thing, but she wants to be helpful.
Right.
And she's been trained that it's a way for her to get energy. When she's nice to people, they
Yes.
give her energy. So she she knows how to do that. And we'll talk some more about that later.
Right. 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 Right.
So
Right.
um, here's another story kind of.
Okay.
When we first started doing this, we were working with clients 6 or 7 a day, both of us.
Both of us, each one of us. It
And
was it was quite something.
it was brutal. And we, at the end of the day, we just we'd be blank. We'd look at each other
And go, oh, yeah,
and we knew that our energy was being taken,
we
but we
did.
didn't really know how else to structure it or do it in a way that
Correct.
um, it doesn't work that way. And we've really backed off on working with individual clients with sessions.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why.
And a lot of times when we work with someone, we take our energy and kind of this is a very Minnesota metaphor,
Okay.
but in the middle of winter, um, in the morning after a snowfall, there's always people getting stuck in their driveway or getting stuck
Sure,
in the
sure, sure,
street or whatever,
sure.
and you hear that, zzz,
With the tires, yeah.
so you get out of your car. It's Minnesota nice. You get out of your car and you push them, and 3 or 4 people get up and they push the car, and then they get back in their cars, and
And everybody goes. Yeah.
everybody goes. Well,
Okay.
that's what we were doing metaphorically with people energetically all
Yes.
day long.
Yes.
And it was taking
But
a
we
toll
weren't
on us.
getting back what we needed for us.
Exactly.
And so we've learned basically how to do that. And it took a little while, we'll say it that way.
And the ultimate answer was,
Okay.
we get it for ourselves.
First.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's not about excluding people. It's not about it does have to do with the way you interact with people. One of our clients struggled with a group that she got together with every year, who took her energy, and she was getting to the point where she didn't really even want to go and connect with them.
Right.
But as we were working together, she changed her approach.
Yes.
And what she did, and this sounds selfish, but she made the group respond to her. So
Mhm.
instead of letting the group take her energy, she said, "I'm going to do this, and you can come with me if you want. If you don't have to, if you don't want." And everybody just kind of followed.
Followed along.
And
Yes.
it was a very shrewd way of changing the dynamic without excluding these people from her life,
Yes.
because she'd known them for a long, long time. She just changed the dynamic, and she changed the way she operated her personality.
Yeah.
And that's really the way to do this.
Well, and by the way, and that in itself is her taking her own power, her authentic power. What a wonderful thing to learn. And by the way, if people are taking your energy, one of the things that we've learned is that you're not standing in your power.
Exactly.
And that is so important for everyday life and living. And I'm not talking about it's going to be my way. That's not what I'm saying. But when we stand in our power, then we can choose what kind of energy we exchange with others.
The way you do that is unique to you and to your
Exactly.
personality.
Exactly. Yes. I couldn't agree with you more. So, Jason, what are the key points of this segment?
Programming creates an environment where taking energy from each other is the norm. Taking energy from others will never be satisfying. It always has to come from essence.
Right.
And the life force energy from essence is unlimited, but our essence does not function because of the 80%. And the ecosystem approach teaches you to get your life force energy from essence in a way that's natural to you.
Exactly. In the next segment, we're going to talk about practical ways to deal with people in your life who deplete you and exhaust you of your energy. And we're going to teach you how to make sense of it. You haven't heard this before. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about practical ways to deal with people in your life who deplete you and exhaust you in a way that makes sense. You haven't heard this before. Stay tuned. We are married intuitives with over 20 years' experience who created the ecosystem approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. I know that we've talked to people for over 20 years about energy takers and what to do about it. Jason, what are some of the practical suggestions that work?
That's what we're going to talk about in this segment.
Okay.
Um, the basic one is make sure that you have an unlimited source of life force. That's the easiest way.
And how you do that is through the
The
ecosystem approach.
And if this is grabbing you by the heart, if it says, oh yeah,
Or
this
even
sounds
if
right,
it's just a little bit,
little bit of a
whoa,
nudge,
what do they mean?
go to our website right
Yeah.
now, theecosystemapproach.org, and sign up for our free section. And you get a weekly clearing list. We're going to tell you how to clear in just a minute,
Mm-hmm.
and how to activate life force.
Mm-hmm.
And we do that every single show.
And by the way, we do it every single day.
Yes, we do.
And it really makes a difference.
We're not just talking about this stuff. We do it. And
we do.
Yes,
we do.
We
Yes.
want to be examples of it. So, people would come to us all, for the 20 years we've been doing this and say, oh, you got to help me. You got to protect me from this person.
Right.
This person is just sapping my energy.
Right.
And we haven't found that really works.
No.
Because there's usually something in their personality.
In that person who's asking that question.
Right. So they want protection, but it's what they're really saying is have someone else create the protection for me.
Right.
And then what they do when we watch this over and over and over again, that they'll shut the front door, but then they'll open the back door, or they'll say, okay, yeah, we'll put protection around them. And then as soon as we're done with the session, they go out and they
do it all again. Well, and there's another way to say that. When you use the ecosystem approach and you learn how to stand in your power, and I admit it takes a little while, a little bit of a practice, but when you learn to stand in your power that comes directly from life force energy, what happens is that when those vampires or those energy takers come along, you can, in essence, kind of look at them and say, oh no, you don't get to take that energy from me. And the thing that is the most amazing to me is I've actually seen those energy takers actually kind of get like a dumbfounded look on their face, and they'll go the other way because they want energy. They don't care how they get it. And so they go the other way. Most of this is
not conscious either.
Absolutely.
It's really
in
not
fact,
conscious.
I would say I don't think I've ever seen anybody really be conscious of it.
And what we found is, and this is what we're talking about now, is that there's something about your social interactions, the way you present yourself to the world, that makes it easy for energy takers.
Right.
And that's what we try and work with people. First, we try and have them have a source of life force for themselves. That's whenever they need it, they can just go to it.
Exactly.
That's the first thing. The second thing is there are things in your personality, whether you frame yourself as a victim, whether you're not totally in your power.
Correct.
You can be a bully.
And not be in your power, by the way.
It's kind of ironic. You be a bully, and then people who have been bullies come to us and say, well, I don't know why people don't like me. or I don't
Yeah,
know why,
seen that one.
I don't have any friends, and
Yes,
but they're very, very confrontational and aggressive
yes,
about the way they present themselves in the world. So
correct.
those personality traits is what we work with in the ecosystem approach. Now, each person is different.
Unique.
If that's why we don't give you a formula in these shows, because
Yeah,
we don't use formulas. What we do is with the ecosystem approach is we look at who you are uniquely,
yes,
and then have you start to clear so you can see these things for yourself,
exactly.
and then continue to clear them. you know um
And by the way, when you start clearing and removing negative energies, believe it or not, your power is actually there.
yes,
It's there. And you go, "Oh,
your
I can."
essence always has the power.
It always has the power. And the most amazing thing is when you discover that it's there, the very first thing that most people do is go, "Oh, I don't know how to use that." But innately, we've been trained not to use our power. We've been trained to get it from someone else. But when we realize that we can get it for ourselves right directly from us, it's awesome. In fact, one of the biggest things that people say is, well, I'm not going to like myself if I clear away all the stuff. I've never, in all of my more than 20 years of doing this, I've never seen anyone that found something out about themselves because of clearing and removing negative energy, that they didn't figure out a way for themselves to go, well, I like this, or I don't like this, and if I don't like this, either how do I change it or how do I get rid of it?
So let's talk about some of the personality traits and how they
Exactly.
manifest.
Okay.
For example, if you are being victimized interpersonally,
Mm-hmm.
there's typically a frame for that. People that aren't able to speak up,
Right.
people that have the compulsion to appease others. So they may not want to do something, but they'll say yes just
Right.
to keep the peace. Um, there are some that um, can't say no.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
let's do this. I don't want to do that, but they can't say no, so
You're right.
they go along with it, and then the other person is taking their energy. So
Correct.
these are some of the traits. Bully, we talked about this. Bully, aggressive, confrontational energy is also a form of neediness and takes
Absolutely.
energy.
Yes.
Now we think of that those kind of traits with men. Men have it more often than women, but we've seen women
Oh,
who
I
have it
don't
too.
know
Yeah.
about that, but yeah. Yeah.
And we don't never think of that kind of energy as being needy. But the truth is,
Oh,
sometimes when someone comes at you or is
yeah.
in your face or saying,
Yeah.
you're going to do this,
They're
or
being needy for something you have, meaning
which is a
your,
reaction.
which exactly.
They're needy for a reaction.
That's correct.
So,
Yes.
so the ecosystem approach teaches you how to uncover that part of you that's secure, and that, just like we talked about earlier, that woman she was making her friends respond to her as opposed to
Yes.
her responding
Well,
to them.
and the other thing is I just need to say this. There's also another part that we don't talk about very often, but when you start removing the negative energy from yourself, what happens is there is a confidence that comes up and a
Yeah.
courage
Yes.
to say, no, that isn't for me, or I'm not going to do that, or oh, I like that. In other words, depending on the situation, but it it happens because confidence and clarity and courage, they actually come from your essence.
We're taught that you have to act courageous to be courageous, but that's programming. That doesn't work.
Yes,
That's
that
not
is not what we're
sustainable.
talking about at
Here's
all.
here's the other part that I want to talk about.
Okay.
Um, Introvert versus extrovert.
Mm-hmm.
Introverts, they're much less likely to go out into the world and try and get energy from other people because they don't engage in the same way.
Okay.
But what I see is that introverts just go without. Instead of going out there and getting low quality energy, they just go without.
Correct.
Extroverts go out and get the low quality energy.
Yeah.
They're
And
talking to
then have to
people
deal with it.
and having parties and that sort of thing,
Sure.
but it's not high quality either.
No.
So it both kind of evens out in terms of energy
Right.
because they're both not getting enough and what they need.
Exactly. And when you use the ecosystem approach, what happens, everyone, is that you start to see um, whether you're an introvert or extrovert and how to work that for you. It's awesome. It is just awesome.
So should we talk about
So,
key points, and then we
well,
can?
all right. Jason, what are the key points of this segment?
You can't eliminate negative energy takers from your life. It's not sustainable.
They're everywhere.
Yes, changing your behaviors and vulnerabilities is the best way to deal with energy takers.
Okay.
And the ecosystem approach always helps you with negative personality traits by clearing them, which also helps more to have you have more life force.
Okay.
And ecosystem approach teaches you to navigate the world where people are competing for life force so you can have it for yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. So, Jason, let's tell everyone in the audience, for those of you who know, just follow along. For those of you who have just joined us and have never heard of what we do before, this is called the clearing, and this is the ecosystem approach. We're going to teach you how to do it, and then in the next segment, we're actually going to do it all together.
Yes. So to remove negative energy, which is probably the most important, because that's what changes
Absolutely.
your personality traits that make you a victim to negative energy,
Mhm.
and it's also what blocks you from getting that life force through your essence.
Exactly.
So when we say "and to eliminate" in the clearing statement, just imagine your mind's eye, gather up from the tips of your toes. Use your imagination, gather the tips of your toes, and blow it into the processor.
And we're not sure, is Jacob going to put that up for us?
We'll
We'll
see.
hope so.
We'll
And if
see.
not, go to our website. You can see a picture of the processor.
The ecosystemapproach.org.
Thank you, Jason.
And if not, do it to a trash can. If you're driving and there's no trash can around, use your imagination and load it to an imaginary trash can. It's
Exactly.
that simple. And then go on to the next one.
Exactly. And then after that, what we're going to do is we're going to activate for you that life force energy. By the way, life force energy is the most powerful energy that anyone has access to. And believe it or not, we all have the right and the ability to actually use it. What we're going to do is we're going to call upon it. We're going to have it come in through the top of our head, let it go all the way down to the tips of our toes. We're going to stop it right there. We're going to turn it around. We're going to use that power to remove more negative energy that is kind of just hanging around and we don't need. And then we're going to move on to the next. So, anything else we want to say?
We're good. Let's go.
All right. So stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to help you clear the negative energies that keep you from having great success to life force and for life force with life force. We'll help you connect with life force right now. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to help you clear the negative energies that keep you from having great access to life force. And we'll help you connect with life force at the same time, starting right now. You ready to rock and roll, Jason?
Let's do this.
Here we go.
I direct all my resources in all dimensions to eliminate the barriers so I can know that life force comes from my essence.
I love it. Nice and easy. Take a nice
Gather
breath.
up those barriers, blow them into the processor.
And by the way, Jacob's put that picture right up there. Thank you, Jacob, for doing that. So moving right along, and to eliminate the false belief that I can program myself to have life force, I release and let go that false belief right now. Take a breath.
And to eliminate the feelings of anger, hate, rage, and bitterness that is attached to me that interferes with the flow of life force.
Oh, that's a huge one. Take a nice breath, everyone. Nice and easy. And get rid of those energies of anger, rage, hate, and bitterness right now. One more time. Take a breath. And here's some more. And to eliminate any feelings of fear and hurt and shame that makes me a victim to those who would take my energy. Oh, I love that one. Take a breath.
And to eliminate the barriers so I can clear my feelings that interfere with the flow of life force in my daily life.
Yes, take a breath. And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that programming stops me from connecting with my own essence. Take a breath.
and to eliminate the feelings of fear and terror of other people's judgment that
Mm,
makes me a victim and allows um, them to take my energy.
exactly. Take a breath. And to eliminate all the hurt and depression and shame I have that keeps me from getting life force for myself. Take a breath.
And to eliminate any anger I have about life that keeps me from downloading life force from essence.
Oh, I love it. Take a breath. Here's a big one. And to eliminate my feelings of resistance, bitterness, and anger that blocks me from my own life force. I don't need that. Take a breath.
And to eliminate the false belief that others can give me energy and overcome feeling depleted.
Oh, good one. Take a breath.
You know, we missed one thing that we didn't talk about,
One
but
major thing.
in the morning,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
you and I,
yes.
and it's you and I exchanging energy, and it's we clear a little bit,
Uh huh.
we check in on each other, and
It's a
it's
great exchange.
it's the most it's the time of day that we enjoy the most.
Yes.
You know, people ask us, what would you like to do as a married couple? And for us to just be together,
Yeah.
and without being interrupted, without
Right.
having the day to day, you got to do this, got to do that sort of
Right.
thing.
Right. Right.
And it's an amazing exchange, and we didn't get that overnight.
Oh, no.
It's taken us a while. It's
Yes.
taken us the 20 years, you
Right.
know, and but it's really special. And I
It,
hope you guys can have the same if you're listening right now.
well, and start having that same special with yourself,
Yes.
because I've really learned to love and like myself through the ecosystem approach. And it's been quite interesting. And by the way, quite a journey. I'll say it that way. All right. Um, and back to the clearing, and to eliminate any thinking that says I can get my energy from caffeine, social activities, drugs, or alcohol, when the truth is, no, not really.
And
Don't get me wrong. Cup of coffee is great. Okay. Don't get me wrong. But we've been taught, in other words, we've been programmed to believe that that's how we get our energy, and it's not true. Take a breath, everybody.
and to eliminate any numbness or blocks to my essence, clearing and practice can help me reconnect.
Yes. And to eliminate the barriers to my clarity about life, so I can see I'm missing life force and the connection to my essence. By the way, this is not acceptable. Take a breath.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can feel how negative behaviors interfere with my life force energy
And
download. Yes.
and my connection to my essence. Take a breath.
Yes.
So Jason, let's activate some life force.
Yes.
You ready?
And I just want to say this is an important point that we do this every time. We if you go to our website and sign up for our free section,
Mhm.
theecosystemapproach.org, you can get these, but you still have to do the clearing because that's what's keeping you from having it come in naturally.
Correct.
And when
Correct.
you do it this way, it's contrived a little bit and it feels good, but we want you to have it all the time,
Yes.
24/7.
And by the way, and do everything that you came here to do.
Exactly.
Because when your essence isn't blocked, you get to do those
Your
things.
life purpose.
It's pretty amazing. So, with that said, let's activate life force energy. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to activate life force energy so I can use life force energy for all that I need, want, desire, and deserve. Starting right now, in through the top of your head, all the way down your body. Stop it at the tips of your toes, turn it around, and any negative energy left over, get rid of it.
Put it in the processor.
Put it in the processor.
And to activate life force so I can have hope to create unlimited life force for myself
Yeah.
whenever I need it.
Yes. And by the way, sometimes we need more life force than in other times. It's just the way it is. Take a nice breath, everyone. Pull it in. So, and to activate life force so I can trust that my cleared and refined essence is the source of unlimited life force energy. Take a breath.
And to activate life force so I can decide to uncover and restore my essence so it can provide me with life force whenever I need it as much as I need.
At all times, take a breath. Right in through the top of your head. And to activate life force so I can be happy and healthy and have courage and power and strength and the clarity to understand that my life force comes from me and my connection to the most amazing energy, life force in the world. Take a nice breath. Let it go right in through the top of your head, all the way down your body to the tips of your toes. Stop it right there. Turn it around. Use the power of that life force and let it remove any negative energies that you're still holding on to. Nice and easy. Blow it out. Jason, what are we going to talk about next week?
Decision making. Now, I was concerned that this topic wasn't interesting enough. And, it just doesn't sound that great on the surface. But over the 20 years, people come to us because they're trying to make a decision.
Exactly.
And we're doing a whole series about small business. A lot of the people that our clients have their own business, have their own small business, or aspire to have their own small business. So we're kind of framing it in terms of decision making for small business, but it's really helpful. So if you're a business of one, you can be a business of one. It's your career is your business. It doesn't really matter, but this is really helpful because people don't know how to use their internal resources to make a decision, because a good decision for you may not be a good decision for me. And this will be a really important show to watch. So tell your friends about it.
Yes, absolutely. Tell your friends and family. Find yourself a partner to do the clearing with. It is one of the best things ever. But let me ask this question. Jason, why is the ecosystem approach so important to me personally and to the audience out there?
If you got a little nudge today and said, okay, yeah, I'm feeling depleted, or I felt depleted at one time, maybe you don't even know if you're depleted, which is what the way a lot of people are. It's because those natural forces of you aren't working like they're supposed to. The ecosystem approach is to help you change from a programming mindset to having an energy approach to life, and doing it in a way that is completely natural to the way you were designed. That's why we call it the ecosystem approach, because you're not a machine. You're much more like an ecosystem.
Exactly.
So how do you do that? Well, listen to our show every week. Go to our website, theecosystemapproach.org. Sign up for our free section so you can stay in touch. And then go to our Facebook page. That's where you can see our videos. This is on Facebook Live, and they're recorded there. And like us while you're there. Really appreciate that. Theecosystemapproach.org is our Facebook page name also.
Okay. And so we'll connect next week, Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern Time. This is Transformation Talk Radio, and you're listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia.
Remember, your ecosystem is the most important one in the world.
Thank you for listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. I'm Patricia. Tune in every week as we discuss practical ways to apply the ecosystem approach and develop your potential to live your life on your terms. For more information, visit our website at theecosystemapproach.org.